So, what if I told you that, according to our source, Mexico has kicked off a secret economic war against the United States and is actually winning? It's a pretty wild claim, one that flips decades of geopolitics completely on its head. Let's dig in and unpack the argument to see how this alleged power shift is really supposed to be happening. Okay, so right from the get-go, the source frames this as way more than just a new policy. It's a hidden conflict. The whole idea is that there's this massive shift in power going on right under our noses, and it's a secret Washington is desperate to keep quiet. That really sets a dramatic stage for everything else. And this right here is the central question we're tackling. Is this a real economic war? And if it is, what does winning even look like for Mexico in this situation? Let's dive into the evidence they present. All right, first things first, let's get to the core premise. The source, narrated by economist Ricardo Wolff, argues that this isn't a war with tanks and soldiers. Nope. This is a strategic economic showdown where, for the first time in modern history, Mexico supposedly holds all the cards. Now, you have to understand, this claim is a complete reversal of history. For decades, the US-Mexico power dynamic has pretty much been a one-way street. But the source is arguing that something has fundamentally changed, marking a totally unprecedented moment in the relationship between these two neighbors. So, how did we even get here? Well, the source lays out this timeline. It all starts back in 2013, when Mexico opened up its energy sector to foreign companies. But that started to reverse, quietly, under President AMLO. And it's all building up to what the source projects for 2025, a set of truly game-changing reforms under new President Claudia Sheinbaum, all designed to put the state back in control. So, what's the main weapon in this so-called economic war? According to the source, it all comes down to a series of new energy laws. Laws that are specifically designed to reclaim national control over Mexico's most precious resource, its oil. And here's the heart of the plan. This new law would allegedly require that 80% of all oil produced in Mexico has to be processed by Pemex, Mexico's state-owned company. Just that one move completely changes the game for foreign companies that have poured billions into the country. 100,000 barrels a day. According to the source, that's how much Mexican oil that U.S. refineries all along the Gulf Coast rely on every single day. And that dependency, well, that's presented as Mexico's ace in the hole. It's their key point of leverage. So this all leads to a really tough choice for U.S. corporations. The source claims they're being given an ultimatum. Either you accept a new role as a junior partner to the Mexican state, or you walk away from all your massive investments with absolutely nothing. Talk about a high-stakes standoff. Now, given an ultimatum like that, you'd think Washington would have a massive, powerful response, right? But this is where the source's argument gets really interesting. It claims that the U.S. is basically powerless to do anything about it. Let's look at why. So what can the U.S. actually do? The source breaks down 4 possible moves and calls every single one a guaranteed failure. Tariffs? They say that would just trigger insane inflation in the U.S. An embargo? Well, Mexico can refine its own gasoline now. Legal action? Mexico's just exercising its sovereign rights. And military action? That would be an absolute disaster right on their own border. And on that last point, the threat of invasion, it's countered by this old historical idea. The Cardenas Doctrine, from way back in 1938, basically says that Mexico would rather burn its own oil fields to the ground than let a foreign power come in and take them. But really, the source argues Mexico's greatest offense isn't a doctrine or a weapon at all. It's just being right next door. Unlike other countries the U.S. has pressured, if you destabilize Mexico, you create immediate chaos on America's own border and inside its economy. That proximity has become a powerful shield. But here's the twist. According to the source, Mexico isn't just sitting back and playing defense. No, it's supposedly going on the offense by building a powerful new alliance with Washington's #1 rival, China. And the source puts a just staggering number on this new alliance, a secret 20-year oil deal between Mexico and China supposedly worth $150 billion, a move that's designed to completely blindside the strategists in Washington. Now, this deal is presented as much more than just a simple sale. It's a full-blown strategic partnership. The source claims it includes guaranteed prices for Mexico's oil, which is huge for stability, plus Chinese investment in critical infrastructure, and one other component that's described as truly revolutionary: And here it is. This is the part that the source claims could change everything. The deal allegedly bypasses the US dollar completely. By agreeing to get paid in Chinese yuan, Mexico would be taking a direct shot at the petrodollar system, the very foundation of American economic power for the last 50 years, where oil is traded in dollars. And just to show you how big a deal this is, the source points to former Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, who reportedly said that this idea of de-dollarization was the single greatest threat to the U.S. economy. Not inflation, not debt, this. So, after all that, what does this all add up to? In this last part, we're going to look at the long-term ripple effects presented in the source, which suggests this isn't just about Mexico at all, but about a potential tectonic shift in the entire global economic order. This really lays out the core argument perfectly. We're seeing a potential shift from the old way of doing things, U.S. dominance, oil sold in dollars, Mexico as a junior partner, to a whole new paradigm where nations like Mexico are asserting their own sovereignty and building new alliances around the world. And this is so important. The Mexican government isn't just doing this on its own. The source points to polls showing that a massive 87% of the population approves of these nationalist energy policies. That gives the government a powerful mandate that's really hard for anyone on the outside to challenge. And the analysis doesn't even stop there. It predicts a potential domino effect. The idea is, if Mexico's strategy actually works, it could inspire other resource-rich countries in Latin America to team up, form a new bloc, and basically start rewriting the rules of the global economy. This quote, which the source says comes from a speech by President Sheinbaum, just perfectly captures the spirit of this whole thing. It's a powerful, clear, and defiant declaration of economic independence. And all of that leaves us with this final, really powerful question. The story laid out in our source material is one of a radical power shift. It makes you wonder, in today's world, can a nation reclaiming its own natural resources truly redraw the entire map of global power?